Hey everybody, welcome to Becoming Your Own VIP, Mind, Body, and Soul. And today I wanted to talk up to you about a couple things. My sister and I was having a random conversation today, and she was talking about how she can plan all day long and know exactly what she wants to do in a day, but when she gets to it, she's like, I don't know, she just doesn't follow through and end up doing it. And something that I've been going through learning was something that's called reparenting yourself. And so I had to explain it to her. So when we were kids, there were aspects of us that were not raised properly. Our inner child, our wounded child still exists within us. Really, essentially, we're all big kids. When we get hurt, we have our tantrums and we do a lot of stuff that are very childlike-ish. And it's our inner child. It's wounded, it's hurt, and it hasn't been parented right. It has not been shown the right ways to love, to be, to act, and in a lot of ways, plain and simple. And what I was explaining to her, and this is something I've been learning and trying to implement in my life. So again, I'm not perfect with it. I'm still making sure that I'm healing and taking those steps. And one of the things I wanted to make sure you guys understand is that the world is always going to have challenges for us. It's never going to be perfect, because how anyone grows is through trials and tribulations. That is just the truth of it. If everything was just fine and perfect each and every single day, we will all be happy, we'll be merry, and we would be status quo, because there will be nothing ever pushing us to go further in life beyond what we are right now, because we're already happy. So there's going to be challenges all the time. So our first challenges was what we experienced growing up, and then every challenge after that, it had shaped, and we stored those experiences in us in some way or another. Okay. So because we learn through those hard things in life, that saying where how come the bad always stands out so much more than the good? It's because that's the part that's not to be repeated. You're supposed to learn from it, grow from it, and never to repeat it again. And it sticks in your mind. Yes, it's a trauma, but the truth is you're supposed to digest the information and let it go. Take the information that you were supposed to learn from it and drop it, let it go. Obviously that's not been taught to us. We didn't know it. All we knew is it hurt, and it stuck with us. It just hung on tight like glue. So what I was telling her, going back to my point, is that it's time for us to reparent ourselves. We didn't always have the parents that were, by our side and teaching us with love, kindness, support, and structure. And so what we do now is we do that to ourselves. So what I explained to her is, what child, like if you're a parent and your child will much rather go play than sit down and do their homework, okay? So it's just like we would rather just play than sit down having to plan out our day and then go exactly by that plan. Something else fun comes up and we want to go do that, and we do it, why not, but that's the thing, is to reparent ourselves. We're needing to provide that structure and that discipline to ourselves and support ourselves. And so what I told her was, we have a lot of abandonment and trust issues, right? And again, do you remember how I said it's not about blaming anyone? At first, it's blaming the hurt and the pain and stuff that we experienced by our teachers and everything else. But then when you realize it, and all the lessons and everything else, yes, they had their own lessons, and yes, that passed on to us. And yes, we're to forgive that. And yes, we received our first abandonment wounds, our first rejection wounds, our trust issues and all that from them. But after that, it becomes on us. How did we end up continuing to abandon ourselves? How did we continue to reject ourselves, not trust ourselves with our decisions, that then brought people into our lives that continued the cycle of the energy of abandonment, rejection, trust issues, the repeated cycle, because that energy was within you, but you never really healed it. You just repeated that cycle from your original wounds. So how you show up for yourself is by not abandoning yourself, not rejecting yourself, and learning how to trust yourself. So when you make a plan, you're to stick with it and say, honey, I know you want, and you're talking to yourself, you know, honey, I know you would much rather go play right now. I know you would rather go out. I know you would rather watch TV right now. I know you would much rather go do this, this, and that. Or I know you would rather have a pizza than this nice, delicious apple staring right in front of your face, you know? But what would you say as a parent to your child? Okay. So now that's the thing. You would now push pause and say to yourself what we should do. Okay, let's go ahead and compromise. Let's get at least a little bit of it done. You know, at least a little bit a day, it still gets you to your goals, right? But you want to make achievable goals. And this is, again, something I'm still working on, because I made goals several times and had to rephrase and tear it up and start a new thing with planning and stuff like that, because it depends. Obviously, our lives happen. Our mentality happens. We might be really tired this week. We might be, you know, sad, depressed. We might have friends that came into town. We might have family gatherings that's going on. We might have birthdays, any random stuff that could come up, right? So you want to honor that. So be realistic with your plans. But not only that, be realistic with who you are. You know, you can't go from never doing it before to all of a sudden now have this strict structure that books you for a long amount of times that, you know, you really do need some type of break in between. Now, when I first started this, I did incorporate a structure that I followed really well. I was on severance, and I was able to follow that to a T. But then once life happened and I got employed and everything was happening, then that structure changed. And, you know, you have different energy throughout the day now because you're working and you're spending that time with other things. And then you come home and you split that with your family. You split that with your own wants and needs. And then with that structure that you have set forth, right? So you got to figure that out based off your energy and your time, everything. Okay. So you have to restructure yourself in a reasonable time, but you still show up for yourself. And make sure you can pat yourself on the back and say, good job, you did this, all right? You know, you give yourself that reward, that acknowledgement that not all the times did you receive from your parents. A lot of times you received a lot more discipline than you did encouragement. And congratulations for even the smallest of achievements. And then to trust yourself, to know that you can do it, that I'm not going to put myself to some outrageous task that I cannot trust myself in completing, because the minute you do, you've now put yourself in a place where you can't trust yourself. And you think that, oh, it's not a big thing, but no, your spirit is knowing. Your inner child is like, man, this is just not achievable. I can't trust myself to do this and this. That's how you repeat that energy of bringing people in your life to mirror, reflect to you that you're not doing things to trust in yourself, that you're not doing things to be showing up for yourself, that you keep abandoning yourself, either putting people in front of you versus you standing up and putting yourself first, and rejecting yourself. Quite frankly, if you're dismissing yourself by saying negative self-talk to you, not showing up for yourself, and putting people above you. You know, when they're not above you, we're all equals. They have different qualities than you have, but that doesn't mean you can't make those qualities. And to be truthfully honest, those good qualities that you think they have, you actually do have inside of you. But because you're negative self-talking yourself, you can't let that part shine out. You see what I'm saying? And even if that part was buried deeply within you because of your own self-esteem or confidence issues, that doesn't mean that you can't pull it out of you. You just have some healing to do. The minute you unbury a lot of those treasures within you by taking off all the weight of all the negativity and what people said, people did, or you thinking somebody was better because of videos or TV or movies, or just period, kids in school, peer pressures, whatever it was that shaped you to think that you are no better than another person. That is not true. You have so much beauty within you. You just have hidden it. I remember how I've hidden my beauty for a very, very long time. And it wasn't until a particular point in my life that someone brought that out in me. and then God finished the rest. You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying. People are teachers. People are brought into your life to show you the potentials of who you are if you are just willing to see it. It's wrapped in the wounds that we carry within that we're not willing to heal. It's wrapped in that. So unwrap it. See what they're teaching you. So for instance, they're saying something to me that's triggering me. That needs to be healed within me. But guess what? I, on a given day, might say something that triggers them. And that's something that needs to heal within them. We are supporting one another in order to improve and uplift one another. But it comes out in a way of what wounded people communicate. Defensiveness, hurt, anger, lashing out and doing all this stuff because of the fact that's all you know is how to fight. But it's not about fighting. It's about loving and say, you know what? Wow. This isn't about you. But you just said something right now that got me deep in here because of something I realized I've never taken care of. And that takes a big person to say that. Because all our lives, we've had to fight. Man, don't make me go on Color Purple on you all my life. But seriously, and even karma. Think about in Oprah, I'm just going to say this right now, when Whoopi Goldberg was saying everything you do to me and all that stuff come back to you, karma. And I'm going to do more and more videos on karma. It's real. Everything out here is real. And seriously, when you are triggered, the things that someone says to you feel so hurtful because it is buried so deeply within you because of something that's happened to you. And it's time for you to heal. And if you handle it in a way that is mature and understanding, you benefit the reward of allowing healing between whatever the argument was between you two people, because of the fact you were able to push pause, realize something within me. Don't get defensive. Hold up. One, whatever they're saying is something they feel. So you still want to listen to that and soothe and do what you need to do to maturely, patiently understand where they're coming from, because they're expressing a wound in the current situation. Their inner child is talking to you about a wound they have, whether it's something they need to deal with or not. It's something that still needs to be dealt with between you two. And then, so again, if you're not bothered by this, you're confused by it, the bottom line is they have something that they're triggered with. Yes, they need to work out with it, but not everybody is on the same page. Okay, not everybody is aware and awakened to a trigger, what a trigger means for that person. So it's still up to you to help them with that inner child healing. Okay, and this is something I learned. Okay, so I'm putting you on game right now. So with that being said, you do your best to help them. Now, if you're both awakened, it still hurts because it's pain, but you both can now realize, let's talk this out because it is a current situation within our lives. But you have to allow them, whoever got triggered, even if both of you got triggered, you still need to allow quiet time for them to go back and reflect on their pain so they could do some inner work and inner healing for their shadow work and heal that inner child and the deep wound so that can start energetically going away. It's not their job to fix you. And do you know, for the longest of time, I thought a relationship like the Tom Cruise part where you complete me. No, you complete yourself. And then together, one whole person and another whole person join, equally yoked, and you work that relationship out together through whatever trials and tribulations that will occur, whatever tests will occur in your relationships or individually, temptations, everything that's going to come up. That is going to test your individual strengths and your strengths of love and your unity. And how you and the other person handles it is the biggest test of all. Do you pass or do you fail? And with a fail, there's a consequence. With there's a pass, there's a reward. It feels very challenging. It feels like you failed. It feels like you did something wrong at the time. but how you overcome it individually and together successfully, you will be blessed, or you will repeat the cycle. It will tear you asunder. It will do a lot of different things, okay? I know this firsthand. So reparent yourself. Get yourself together. Tell yourself all the things that you wanted to hear as a child. Again, give yourself hugs, rewards, not unhealthy rewards. And it doesn't even have to be monetary. It could be a hug. It could be a pat on the back. You say, good job, Rebecca. You say all these other things. Share gratitude to God for the blessings that's bestowed upon you. Be humble. And know it's a continued thing, because I'll tell you what, one day might be really good energetically, and the next day, heavy energy, and then you don't even know why. That's where your self-love and you standing strong for yourself, showing up for yourself, being consistent for yourself, being disciplined, laying your foundation so that nothing, no matter what storm comes, you do not get blown away. Self-parenting yourself through understanding how to, again, discipline, consistency, showing up for yourself, loving yourself, your finances, paying off your debt, learning to budget, learning to spend money appropriately, being of service, your tithes, doing things for the community, doing videos like this of things you've learned to share and pass on to others, building a career off of that. Doing things for you in a loving manner, and showing your family and your loved ones how much they actually mean to you each and every single day. Not taking anything for granted, not taking you for granted, not taking any of the gifts that you've been given for granted, the food you eat, the shelter over your head, the clothes you wear, the bed you sleep in. Gratitude. Teach yourself your spirituality, your mental, emotional, physical, social well-being. Teach yourself everything that our parents did not teach us. Learn what unconditional love is, not conditional love. Not, well, you do this or now I'm going to give you a cold shoulder, or you do this or you might as well just go home. It's not a tit for tat thing. It's not, oh, you didn't play right, so I'm taking my ball and I'm going home. No, I love you anyway. This is a minute that yes, we had an issue, but I'm not going to deny my love, because I love you. Unconditional love. I know you are not perfect. Now, if it's abusive, that's another thing, that's a whole nother ball game. But love is not consequential, where you give consequences of that. If you don't love me this way, I'm not giving you this. Or that person is lower than you in some way, or they should be grateful to have you in their life. No, you should be grateful to have each other in each other's lives, and respect one another enough to understand that I picked you for a reason. You're in my life for a reason. God's blessed me with you for a reason. We fell in love for a reason, and you work together. Your children. You didn't do this, so now you're going to get some outlandish consequence, or get yelled at, or a little boy for showing emotions, and now all of a sudden he's going to get harsh feelings. No, that boy has a chance. Let him cry. We all know what it feels like to have our emotions. Don't deny somebody expressing their emotions. Unconditional love. So I'll do a separate video on that too. But reparent yourself. Know what is a healthy love and an unhealthy love. And that is the part you're healing. To reparent yourself in a way that there is that structure, there is that consistency, there is that unconditional love for yourself, that knowing I'm going to fall, but I'm going to fall forward, and I'm going to get right back up, and I'm going to keep going. This particular thing may not have worked, but that I'm not going to stop. Let me keep going. Your life don't stop. Nobody's going to come save you. You've got to save yourself. God's going to give you the blessings as you continue to your momentum. Again, little steps at little steps. You don't have to take huge steps in a day. You don't have to feel like you have to be perfect, because you're not perfect. Not yet. You're working on it. We're all work in progress. And then the same thing you remember of yourself right now teaches you to have that same patience and compassion for your partner, for your children, for your sisters, for your mother, your brothers, your sister, your father, mother, uncles, aunts, community, co-workers, bosses, anyone you come in contact with. The difference is you know now, so you could do better. Anyone who's not aware, they don't know. So that's where your patience and compassion comes in, to understand. And this journey teaches you all that. And the more you work on yourself, the more you understand, the more you have that patience, the more you have that compassion, the more you have that forgiveness, and the more you can be of service. So if you have any questions, let me know, and have a good night. See you later.